Thank you for joining me, Ashwin Bedi, on NMH at 1, where we highlight the news making waves in Namibia and beyond, ranging from current affairs to community stories, sports and economic news. Coming up in this broadcast, Okapale fishermen still battling unemployment issues. Farm laborers paid with government food parcels, according to Sioka. House prices have shot up by 1,250% since 1990. Follow all our programs on oneup2.com or DSTV 285 or GoTV 25 in Namibia. Midday news update up shortly. A young girl that went missing in the dunes on the outskirts of Walvish Bay on Saturday was found today. The police and volunteers were frantically searching for the girl. Initial reports indicate that members of the Community Crime Prevention Unit, Ramos Realtors and the Namibian Marshal Rangers, in collaboration with the police, found the girl wandering in the dunes. Visual News highlights local stories from across Namibia right after the break.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraika. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
The Literature Committee of the National Arts Council of Namibia, in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture, Directorate of Arts and National Libraries and Archives, this morning officially launched the debut Literary Festival of Namibia under the theme Open a Book. The festival will take place from 1 to 2 September at the National Archives and Library in Windhoek.
Festival, of course, will take place here right at the National Archives and Library. Ms. Sarah, thank you for welcoming us into your home. Thank you for saying that this can be our home, not only for the debut, but for many years to come. And maybe this will be the spring program that everybody needs, so that on Christmas wish list, there's a Namibian book, because that's what we want to establish. So on day one, we'll have registrations, of course, from 8:30 till 9. We have to do that because we want to start collecting the names and numbers of everyone who's really, truly interested to be part of our literature movement. Then we will have the chairperson of the National Arts Council, Ms. Cicely Jacobs, to do the official welcoming remarks, followed by our lovely director of the National Libraries, Ms. Sarah Negumbo, as well as Mrs. Elisma Tron, administrator at Netwerk. And then, of course, what would a festival be without some local performance? We have our international award-winning local songwriter and performer, Waters, who will put everybody in the mood for our keynote remarks by our guest of honor, international author extraordinaire, Dr. Margie Orford, who will also be our official guest. Can we please have a
Namibia Investment Promotion and Development Board held a media engagement with northern journalists at the Ongadiva Annual Trade Fair. Catherine Shipishu, Senior Manager for Marketing and Branding, said that the media plays an important role in sending out a message.
The NIPDB is taking part in the Ongadiva Trade Fair for the very first time, and one of our first activities this morning was to engage the media. The media is a very key stakeholder to us as an agent of government, because they allow us to provide access to information to all different corners of the country. And we had a very successful and fruitful engagement with the media this morning, and we're looking forward to engaging with the rest of the public as the trade fair continues. We have a stand in the Queen Hall. Please come and engage with our officials. We are here. If you are an MSME and you need information around the projects that we running that can benefit your business, or if you are an investor operating in Namibia and you need our services, facilitation services, then we are here to assist you while we are at the trade fair. Otherwise, please follow us on social media or our website, or send us an email at info@nipdb.com, and we're more than happy to assist with any query that you may have around the services that we provide.
Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel came close to tears on Saturday when he delivered an emotional speech. We'll be heading into the newspaper review, looking at this story and more shortly.
Welcome to Active Kids, a daily TV show that sparks creativity, learning, and fun for young minds. With exciting activities and lessons, Active Kids inspires curiosity and a love for learning.
New face to the 15.
The perfect mix of play and education. Don't miss out on the fun. Tune into Active Kids on NTV every weekday at 10 o'clock and let the adventure begin.
Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel came close to tears on Saturday when he delivered an emotional speech highlighting the unwavering, unconditional and eternal bond between Namibia and Cuba. He said the relationship between the two countries is rooted in a shared history of struggle, where both nations have drawn strength from the courage of Africans, including Namibians who were forcibly enslaved and later fought for their freedom in Cuba. The Cuban president, who returns to Cuba this morning, visited Namibia as the guest of honor for the Heroes' Day celebrations at the Independence Stadium over the weekend. Now on page 3 of Namibian Sun, Gender Equality and Social Welfare Minister Doreen Sioka yesterday accused farm owners of paying farm laborers who hail from marginalized communities with food parcels and state grants. Sioka alleged that farm owners collect food parcels and grants on behalf of workers from marginalized communities and use this state-provided assistance as part of their compensation, a practice she believes must be stopped. She further alleged that people from marginalized communities are treated like donkeys. As a result, Sioka announced her plans to visit areas where marginalized communities work as farm laborers to investigate if their needs are being adequately addressed. On the front page of Republican, the Rundu Town Council owed NamWater 76 million Namibian dollars in September 2019, with the debt rising to more than 200 million as of 30 June this year. This according to the council's strategic finance executive Sam Nekaro. Nekaro made the revelation during the presentation to the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Human Resources and Community Development last week, which is conducting public hearings on a motion aimed at writing off local authorities' historic debts. On page 3, a San couple from Mushiku village in Kavango East, previously reported as lacking the necessary national documents to access much-needed state grants and other services, are now on track to receive their identity papers. Namibian Sun had previously reported on the plight of Mboma Nyumbu and Titoka Ndumba, who were unable to register and receive government grants, a situation that left them struggling to survive with odd jobs and government food parcels. In response to Namibian Sun's report, the Home Affairs Ministry launched an investigation, tracked down the couple, and found they are Namibian citizens and qualify for national identity documents. On his front page, the Agamana Zeitung reports that in Zimbabwe, the controversial President Mnangagwa was re-elected with almost 53% of the vote. However, accusations are growing louder that the election did not take place legally. Even the Southern African Development Community, which has been reticent so far, has for the first time expressed criticism of the elections for the first time. Although the elections were peaceful, they did not meet the requirements of the Zimbabwean constitution, the electoral law, and the principles of SADC. On page 3, the chief investigator of the Namibian Anti-Corruption Commission, Andreas Kanyangela, said the fish rot corruption scandal during the continuation of the new bail application interrogation of Bernard Isau and Nigel van Fake at the High Court in Windhoek, that Bernard Isau did not tell the truth. He used his powers to exclude the team that was designated to work on the Memorandum of Understanding with Angola. We continue with the Namibian after the break. The Namibian reports that a house is one of the most significant assets an individual can own, but the average price of houses in Namibia has shot through the roof, increasing by 1,250% between January 1990 and March 2023. Owning a house is now beyond the reach of most young people. On page 3, a group of 590 ex-Okapale fishermen submitted a petition to the Minister of Fisheries and Marine Resources, Derek Carlson, on Friday. In the petition, they expressed their disappointment in the agreement process between the Fisheries Ministry, the Ministry of Labour, Industrial Relations and Employment Creation, and the companies which were to employ them. The fishermen, who have been employed since 2015 following an industrial strike which led to job losses, were designated to the Alube Fishing, Rakatuka Investment and Namfi Fishing Moebai joint venture companies, with promises that they would get their first salaries backdated from the 1st of July. The New Era's lead story reports that President Hage Geingob has expressed strong condemnation of the designation of Cuba as a state sponsor of international terrorism by the United States government. Speaking at the State House yesterday during the state visit of Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel, Geingob decried the unfounded accusation and voiced his concerns over the ongoing U.S. blockade against Cuba. On page 3, Deputy Trade Minister Verena Sinimbo said Ongwediva Annual Trade Fair takes great pride in promoting sustainable development, not only for the present but also for the generations to come. The event attracted about 418 local and international exhibitors, representing a fair number of the active economic sectors in the country, including the informal sector, which contributes significantly to the GDP. Sinimbo stressed that this year's trade fair is a platform that brings together entrepreneurs, innovators, investors and consumers, all united in their pursuit of sustainable economic growth. Now, the Market Watch reports that the Namibian Competition Commission has approved 11 mergers, with some getting approval with conditions. The first merger involves the acquisition by Vivo Namibia of the assets and business conducted by Triple J. The merger was found to hurt employment as the sale entails 98% of the seller's business. However, such a sale did not include employees as such to protect the employment of the 21 employees. An employment condition is recommended. There shall be no retrenchment of the 21 employees employed by seller's business for a minimum period of 3 years. Now, a total of 1,260 new vehicles were sold in July. An update coming up as we move over to economic news.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Now, as we said, 1,260 vehicles were sold in the month of July. We'll be looking forward to see what that means for the motor industry. But our top economic news story is the Capricorn Foundation has affirmed its commitment to empowering rural artisans by announcing the renewal of a partnership with the Omba Arts Trust. The Omba Arts Trust is a not-for-profit social enterprise founded over 30 years ago to support sustainable livelihoods through arts and crafts. The trust has made a tremendous difference in the lives of many Namibian rural artisans, artists and their families by developing and marketing some of Namibia's most iconic handicrafts and San contemporary art. The Capricorn Foundation has been supporting Omba Arts Trust since 2021 and has committed 240,000 Namibian dollars for logistical assistance in producing and selling handicrafts, training and food support. The Omba Arts Trust supports over 460 rural artisans. 32 artisans from these 430 are found in Okako constituency, close to Ondangwa. Let's head to the economic indicators. The Namibian dollar trades at 18.71 next to the US dollar, with 23.47 Namibian dollars getting you 1 British pound. Most selected NSX stock closing prices on the page maintained their value. Overall index closed down 0.57%. Gold, platinum and Brent crude oil all made downturns, whilst copper made a 0.28% uptick. Libya's Prime Minister has suspended his foreign minister. More in news from Africa shortly.
We are so excited to be kickstarting your morning with entertainment. Everything was happening during this past weekend.
Yes.
Exciting news.
Wow, no, she was killing it already.
In my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with him serving the full term.
As well as keeping you informed on the issues that you need to know happening in and around our country.
Libya's Prime Minister has suspended his foreign minister after she met informally with her Israeli counterpart. Libya, a strong backer of the Palestinian cause, does not recognize Israel, and the meeting has sparked protests in the majority Arab state. Israeli FM Eli Cohen said the meeting with Naya al-Mangush was a historic first step in establishing relations. Israel is working to build closer ties with Arab and Muslim majority countries which do not officially recognize it. However, Libya's Presidential Council, which represents its 3 provinces, said it was illegal to normalize relations with Israel. The Speaker's office in Parliament has accused Mangush of grand treason, and Prime Minister Abdul Hamid Beibar has referred her for investigation. The announcement by Israel that talks had taken place was surprising, given that it was not known to be courting Libya, a staunch foe and champion of the Palestinian struggle, especially under former Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi. During his rule, thousands of Jews were expelled from Libya and many synagogues were destroyed. Let's swing over to international news.
Good evening and welcome to Sunset News.
Dutch stays in list A in his speech, rate and taxes, and how much.
After the break, we take a look at the sports.
We bring you
Economic indicators, tomorrow's weather and sports. I am Aina Raiza Kweyong.
Terry Goh, the billionaire founder of major Apple supplier Foxconn, announced on Monday a bid to be Taiwan's president in the January elections, saying he wanted to unite the opposition.
eTicket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there.
Let's get back to it. Terry Goh, the billionaire founder of major Apple supplier Foxconn, announced on Monday a bid to be Taiwan's president in the January elections, saying he wanted to unite the opposition and ensure the island did not become the next Ukraine. Goh is the 4th person to throw his hat in the ring, but his poll numbers before his announcement put him well behind the front-runner, the ruling Democratic Progressive Party's William Lai, who is currently vice president. Goh, 72, stepped down as Foxconn chief in 2019 and made his first presidential bid that year, but dropped out after he failed to win the nomination for Taiwan's main opposition party, the Kuomintang KMT. The KMT traditionally favors close ties with China, whose government claims Taiwan as its territory. Earlier this year, Goh made a second bid to be KMT's candidate for the presidential election, but the party chose instead Hu Yu-yi, the mayor of New Taipei City. Goh has spent the past few weeks touring Taiwan and holding campaign-like rallies, fueling speculation he was planning to run as an independent. Let's head into local sports, starting with netball.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
On a cold and windy Khomasdal netball court in Windhoek, the Namibia Correctional Services Netball Club beat Wanderers Netball Club 42-33 on Sunday in the MTC Namibian Netball Premier League. Brave Warriors captain Peter Shalulile is likely to miss the international friendly match between Namibia and Bafana Bafana on 9 September. The potent attacker limped off during a recent 4-0 win over Golden Arrows after pulling his hamstring in a match where he scored a goal. Marine Premiership champions African Stars' journey in the 2023-24 Total Energies CAF Champions League lasted for less than 2 weeks as they got knocked out in the preliminary round just this past weekend. Let's talk Barcelona in international sport. Barcelona starlet Lamine Yamal shone in a thrilling 4-3 win for the Spanish champions at Villarreal on Sunday in La Liga. The 16-year-old winger, making only his second start for the club, hit the woodwork twice and set up the opening goal for Gavi in an impressive performance that stood out amid a chaotic battle. David Nunes came off the bench to score twice as Liverpool snatched the sensational 2-1 Premier League win at Newcastle United on Sunday, with the visitors bouncing back from a straight red card in the first half for captain Virgil van Dijk. Now Fiji beat England for the first time with a 30-22 victory at Twickenham on Saturday as the hosts completed a woeful Rugby World Cup warm-up campaign. And of course, the Springboks got the best of New Zealand on Friday. If you're just joining us, this is NMH at 1, and we'll get into the highlights from today's broadcast shortly.
The Agenda is a weekly national affairs interview program hosted every Sunday by Namibian Sun editor Toivon Jabela, featuring a panel of high-profile newsmakers, analysts and experts. The Agenda aims to reach high-end news consumers seeking informed understanding of national issues. This show is broadcasted on NTV, 1up2.com and the Namibia Media Holdings Facebook platform. The Agenda focuses on interviews where we put the nation in the hot seat. Contact Agenda at synergy.com.na to get your product and service in the hot seat. The Agenda, focused on today's conversation.
Let's head into the highlights from this afternoon's broadcast. Libya's Prime Minister has suspended his foreign minister after she met informally with her Israeli counterpart. Libya, a strong backer of the Palestinian cause, does not recognize Israel, and the meeting has sparked protests in the majority Arab state. Terry Goh, the billionaire founder of major Apple supplier Foxconn, announced on Monday a bid to be Taiwan's president in the January elections, saying he wanted to unite the opposition and ensure the island did not become the next Ukraine. And Marine Premiership champions African Stars' journey in the 2023-24 Total Energies CAF Champions League lasted for less than 2 weeks as they got knocked out in the preliminary round this past weekend. Those have been your highlights. Remember to tune in every